I've always kind of been a people pleaser, and I still think I am a little bit of a people pleaser. But I think that once I had my shift, I just stopped giving a fuck, really. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, at the end of the day, like, how you feel about me is your problem, not my problem. Right. And I'm tired of living my life trying to meet other people's standards. Right. Like, I feel like with me is like what you see is what you get. Either you like me or you don't like me. And if you don't like me, that's your problem. Welcome to This Beautiful Struggle.
I'm excited about it.
We finally have gotten to a point where we're just ready to share unfiltered our lives. Infertility is tough. Adoption is tough. But then even talking about like me losing my dad, you losing your mom within a couple of years of each other, our kids losing grandparents, your career and my career, and then making the ultimate decision to move to Nevada and what that looks like, moving away from all of your friends and family and all of those things.
Hopefully people can resonate with our story and just letting people know that they're not alone.
It's not the norm, and infertility is something that people don't ever want to talk about. Our family is such a hot mess, Express. I mean, this is just what it is, right? Like, so we don't have to front anymore.
It's been a long time coming.
Welcome back to This Beautiful Struggle. I'm Erin.
And I'm KC.
So today, let's talk about navigating our friendship circles in our 40s. And I know you're not really in your 40s, but...
Yeah, I am.
Aren't you 40?
Yeah, that's in your 40s. What are you talking about?
Well, me being 43. So I will say that when I was, so a lot of my girlfriends are older than me. And people used to always tell me, and just not my girlfriends, but people would always say that once you approach 40, then there's like this shift. And it's like a shift in like everything, like how you carry yourself, what you care about, what you don't care about.
Yeah, your priorities change.
Yeah, completely. And I feel like that shift for me happened at like 39. And then, I don't know, people would talk about it and I'd be like, no way. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. But I realized it does just happen like that.
Yeah. I think when you get to 40, I think you really, not to say that you stop caring about your other people, but you really kind of just laser focus in on maintaining your own personal peace, your own personal happiness.
That's the way to put it.
And you truly get beyond the age of truly caring about what other people think of you and their opinions, because you got to live your life for you and not what other people think.
Oh, that is so true. You couldn't have said it any better. That is so true. That is exactly what I was trying to say a second ago that I couldn't get it out. But that's exactly what it is. Like, I fully agree. I fully agree. I think that for me, I've always kind of been a people pleaser, and I still think I am a little bit of a people pleaser. But I think that once I had my shift, I just stopped giving a fuck, really. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, at the end of the day, like, how you feel about me is your problem, not my problem. Right. And I'm tired of living my life trying to meet other people's standards. Right. Like, I feel like with me is like what you see is what you get. Either you like me or you don't like me. And if you don't like me, that's your problem.
Yeah. And I'm not going to force something that's not meant to be. I mean, if you don't like me, that's fine. I mean, everybody doesn't have to like everybody. It's okay to not like someone. We can just move on. We're adults.
Yeah.
We don't have to force something to make something out of nothing, but we don't have to do that. I think also I'm just a person who I don't call people friends easily, because I think it's a term that's just thrown out there. You meet somebody once, oh, that's my friend. No, they're not. Just because you know someone or you know a little bit about them does not make them your friend. To me, a true friend is someone that you've known probably for an extended period of time, and you guys have experienced life and events and ups and downs and trials and tribulations together. That's what makes a true friend, in my opinion. Not someone we're just like, oh, we're cool. Well, okay, well, that's not really your friend. To me, that's more of an acquaintance. I have a lot of acquaintances. I have a lot of, well, I'm not even going to say I have a lot of friends, because I don't. A lot of my friends are friends that I've had since I was an adolescent, since I was a little kid. So, but not to say I can't make new friends, but That's just not a term that I throw around very easily.
Yeah. You've always been better at that than me. I think it's hard. Well, you're introverted and I'm very extroverted, right? So I think the hard part with that is even here in Vegas, like I know so many people. You would just think that I've been living here my whole entire life. But I think that that's just because I'm extroverted and social and you know what I mean? I get out there and I do create relationships and community, stuff like that. Super important to me. And I think that's just where you and I are very different too. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that that has a lot to do with, you know, career choice and, you know, things like that as well, right? Like for sure. But I definitely am someone who used to definitely put everyone in the friend category. And I will say, of probably in the last 10 years, I have improved that because kind of like what you're saying is not everyone is your friend. And I had to learn this the hard way.
Hmm.
One of my best friends, Tamara, would always say, like, Erin, you are so naive, right? And I used to be like, no, I'm not. I'm not naive. And the reality is, yes, I was very naive. And I was very naive in the sense of, you know, because people said, oh, this is my friend, that they wouldn't do me dirty or that they would always have my best interest in heart. And then I really learned this lesson in my 30s. Like, I really learned the meaning of loyalty.
Yeah.
And I definitely think in my 40s, it's, you know, especially being here in Vegas, you know, when we moved here, I was 40. And so I just felt like making relationships here is very different than the way that I probably would have made friends in California. You know what I mean? At home, essentially. But I mean, I definitely look for different characteristics, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's a good word. I look for different qualities in friends that maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think oftentimes, like you said, as you get older, what you're looking for in a friend changes. You're looking more for that loyalty, someone who's going to be with you through thick and thin. And when you are in need of things like that from a friend, that's how you truly tell, well, who's really your friend. Because it's easy for people to be your friend when times are good and everything's okay. But as soon as there's a little bit of adversity or there's some form of disagreement or there's some trials or tribulations, people start backing out and they start doing what's best for them. And you're like, oh, well, maybe they really weren't my friend because there's a little adversity and now they need space or they're backing out or I'm in need of some help and now they're unavailable. So it's like, well, are you truly my friend? Because true friends, we don't let a little adversity come between us.
That's so true.
True friends can have an argument and get over it because we're friends. I'm not going to let a disagreement break up my friendship with someone if they're truly my friend and I love them. But you see how quickly one disagreement with certain people and then relationship's over. They don't want to have nothing else to do with you. Okay, that's fine. But you were never really my friend then.
That's definitely, in my opinion, a female trait. I feel like men are easier to get along with. Or like you all, like one-on-one, are easier to get along with, and you guys don't let the emotions of situations like deter your friendship. Where I feel like with females, you know, and we got to do better at this, ladies. We really do, because we do let, like you said, adversity or some drama, you know, or a conflict, you know, dictate, you know, the journey of our friendship. And at the end of the day, if you really love someone and you're loyal to someone and that's a real friendship that you want, it doesn't matter. I mean, relationships are tough, whether it be romantically, with your family, with friends, relationships are tough, right? And so at the end of the day, like, I just feel like we as women have to do a better job of navigating that. And since I moved here to Vegas, I definitely have had some people who I thought for sure that I would have been friends with for the rest of my life. And very quickly did I realize, like you said, the moment that there's any sort of adversity or a disagreement, then some people are very easy to like cut you off. And it's like, oh, you are not the person I thought you were, you know? And I'm sure you all have people like that in your lives as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality. I think, you brought up something when you're saying, loyalty in adversity, right? Like, I think about that because I am someone who is such a blunt, like, I don't want to say I'm confrontational. I hate to use that word, but the reality is I am confrontational, meaning I like to confront if there's issues. I want to confront them. I don't like to just sit and be quiet and let them, fester. And then before you know it, it all goes kaboom and you blow up. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are like that. I used to be like that. And then that's what would happen. Like you would say something to me, I would take it. You would say something to me, didn't like it, wouldn't say anything about it because I didn't want to ruffle the feathers, I would take it. Something else would happen, I'd be like, ooh, child, like, okay. I would talk to you about it, but I wouldn't confront it. And then it would be that one last time where somebody would do something or say something, and I'd be like, look, chick. And then it would go kaboom. And I feel like those relationships are harder when you've just, haven't said anything, right? When your feelings are hurt or if you're feeling some type of way, you just deal with it and let it pile and then you explode. I feel like it's harder to now rebound from an explosion versus if you would have just confronted it from the beginning. And so I think that's the reason why I am someone who just really confronts things head on. And I think is that how men are?
I think so. I think a lot of people, especially in this day and age, they're fake and they try to front like they're your friend, but they're really not. I do think that men are more just, I don't want to say confrontational, but I think it's just blunt to the point where like, we're not going to try to hide that we don't like you or pretend that we're cool with you when we're really not. Guys are just like, I don't like that dude. Fuck him. And it's just as simple as that. Like, we don't have to pretend to be friends. I don't have to pretend. I can totally ignore you. But, I mean, I don't know. You can speak to this, but I think that's harder for females than it is for men.
But what about with you when you feel like that there is a disagreement? I get it. You're blunt. But is it more like, I mean, I've seen it. Like, I've seen mature men, and I actually love it. It'll be like, let me talk to you over here real fast. And it's like you have the conversation, and then it's just done. I wish females could be like that.
Because it's more of like a agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can definitely agree to disagree and just be that. I see it this way. You see it another way. I'm not going to change the way I feel. You're not going to change the way you feel. Okay, cool. Then we just feel two different ways. But we're not going to let that come in between us, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Am I more emotionally driven? Am I more now in my 40s, more matter of fact? Do you feel like I'm confrontational? Like, I hate that word. We got to find a different word than confrontational. And I think a lot of that, honestly, for me, why I hate that word is it's deeper than the word itself. I think the undertones of being a Black woman, and we are often stereotyped to be, these angry Black women or aggressive. And so I think I think it's hard because the moment that you address a situation where it can seem like it's tense and a Black woman is involved, it's very much like, oh, she's aggressive. And then I hear that word all the time. And that word is such a trigger for me.
Yeah, because it's used, the word is weaponized and it's used completely out of context. Just because someone confronts you with something, an issue that they're having, does not mean that they're aggressive. And it's just the way people use it. It's thrown around so freely.
Oh my God.
And it's just not, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you don't want to use confrontational, I would say like up front.
Oh, that's true. I'm straightforward. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I'm very straightforward.
And I think sometimes people shy away from that because people would rather just not talk about it and let those feelings just fester inside them as opposed to being straightforward or upfront about it and just say, hey, this happened. I didn't like it. This is how it made me feel. And then just moving on. But people shy away from that. They're just, oh no, let's just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it. So when people who are upfront and like to confront issues head on, people take that as, oh, they're aggressive. No, they're not aggressive. They're just telling you how they feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. Being upfront does not mean you're aggressive. You have to stop throwing around that
Okay,
term.
so straightforward is my new word. And I think I do say that. I say I'm blunt, but blunt has a negative connotation and a positive connotation as well. But I am very straightforward. And I expect that people are going to be very straight up with me.
They're not.
Like,
But people
I know.
are not.
Some people are, though. I will say, so when I think about my relationships in my 40s, first of all, I'm super blessed that I have lifelong friends. I have been friends with Kristen and Tamara for my entire life. Like, and it is so amazing to look at baby pictures and see your best friends that to this day, and then our kids, you know what I mean? They're more like cousins, but you know, so when I think about my real, true friendships, I think about my lifelong friends, which are Kristen and Tamara. But I also feel like a lot of my friends, and I know you're probably listening like, what? I'm not a lifelong friend. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just using these people as an example. I've been friends with people I feel like, okay, so I've been friends with them for 40 plus years.
Decades.
Then I have friends that I've been with for 20 plus years. There is nothing. We have been through everything. Disagree. Those are more like my sisters. If we've been in it, I would say for 15 years or longer, then you're more like my sister. And if you have sisters, right, or siblings, then you know that sometimes it's a love-hate relationship, but you always get through it. For the most part, you always get through it. And I will say that I'm blessed enough that I haven't had, we've definitely fought and like not talked to each other for a while and then came back and apologized. I think now as I navigate, friendship in my 40s, it's not necessarily me out there looking for new friends. It's more me just navigating living in a new city, making new relationships. Some people are business relationships. Some are social relationships. I think that the relationships that I really, really value right now, as far as new relationships, are those that encompass like our whole family, right? Like, I think when I first moved here, it was really hard for me because I was meeting like single moms, and shout out to the single moms. There's no hate there, but I think, or not single moms. Well, yeah, single moms or just single. And I think that was hard for me because it was like, I want to hang out and I want to kick it and I want to do this and bring your kids over or let's get together with the kids. But then I knew you weren't going to want to come because there wasn't, you know what I mean? There wasn't a man for you. And I feel like a lot of the relationships that we have made here in Vegas, which have been great, have been very much, even if I've made the initial connection, then it's like, okay, well, let's go double date or, bring your kids over, let's barbecue or let's have Sunday fun day or, you know what I mean? Let's go on a couples trip. And I think that, for me personally, where I'm at in life right now, I guess we could all use friends, right? But at the end of the day, I'm really just looking to make relationships with people that have things in common with me and then also my family unit. And that's just the space that I'm in. And I don't have the time for the drama. Like, at the end of the day, if you feel some type of way, great, tell me and I'm going to tell you. And then we can either move on or we can just cut those ties and we can just go our separate ways. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah. I'm too old to be fake. I'm too old to pretend. Like, I don't care. Like, if you don't like me, I don't.
You don't.
I don't. If you don't like me, that's fine. Bye. Like, it's just as simple as that. Like, I'm not going to lose any sleep if you don't like me because I don't care. You have no effect or influence on my life. Like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to lose any sleep.
I would hope you wouldn't cry.
I'm not going to, I'm not going to linger around and hope like, oh, well, why doesn't so-and-so like me? Or why can't we get along? I don't care. If you don't like me, that's fine.
The other thing about Casey that's very interesting, and I think that this is a man thing, I'm more of the person who's very forgiving. Oh, this is where we really balance each other out because Casey is the type where like
cutthroat.
He is. And this is where we struggle because I will be like, well, if you apologize, listen, I don't forget, but I do forgive. And I think it's important. And forgiveness is more about me than it is about them, right? It's me kind of letting go of any animosity, any like frustrations or anything that I have. It's me saying like, okay, this person has apologized, taken accountability for the things that they have done or the things that they have said. And honestly, we all make mistakes and I can move past that. I know that I have made a ton of mistakes. I know that I have said things to friends and family and everyone in relationships that I regret later. And I would hope that most people would be forgiving. I think that you are forgiving, but Casey does not forget. So he'll be like, why are you talking to that person again? I'll be like, well, because they apologize and they own their stuff. And I think that's where I'm at in life. Like, if you own it, right? Like, again, we're not perfect. Just own it. Own what you did. Own what you said. The reality is, all females gossip, men gossip too. We all talk, right? So I'm not going to say like we all do that, right? That's just, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Men gossip too.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of it, right? So I'm never going to cut you off if you talk about me behind my back, but it depends in the context because there is a difference between having conversation like, oh, did you see so-and-so's dress? Oh, that was really cute. Or that's not a good example. Ooh, that her man that she brought, oh, they are not a good couple. I don't like him. Or, you know what I mean? It's something like that versus like, oh, oh my God, her breath stank. And then she looked fat in that outfit. And like, that's the stuff where it's like, I can't come back from that.
Yeah. I think there's different levels.
Yeah.
And for me, depending on what it is, I can forgive, but I'm never going to forget anything. I can definitely forgive, but I'm not going to forget. But there's just certain things that for me are just, once you pass that line, there is a no-go line. And if you pass that no-go line, my answer to you is no-go. I can forgive you, but I don't want to have anything else to do with you.
So what's your no-go line?
I mean, I think that's hard to say. It depends. I know it when it's crossed, but for me to tell you, I don't really know. But obviously something truly egregious, but yeah.
I think disrespect for you, like for sure. Like if you got to a point where you felt completely disrespected or someone disrespected me or disrespected the kids, I feel like that's a huge no-go
absolutely
line.
no-go.
I mean, and I'm the same. Like, listen, I am fiercely loyal to the people that I love. Fiercely loyal. And I don't care. Like my sisters, like... You know what I mean? Like we have such a sisterly relationship, love-hate relationship. And I love my sisters. And even if I'm like, listen, you don't come for my family. Brittany used to say this thing. My little sister, she used to say this thing like, I can't fight, but my sister can, right? And it'd be like, I don't care like if me and her or got in an argument, we're fighting or whatever, you come for my sister, you come for me. And I don't play that. And I don't play about Casey and I don't play about my kids. Right. And then if you also are one of like my close friends, I don't play about y'all either. I don't play about any of my friends, honestly, like.
Yeah, well, I can argue with family, but can't nobody else argue with a family. Or I could talk about my family members, but you better not say nothing about my family members because they're my family and you don't know them like that, like I do. So I think there's that, but just, the no-go line. There's no coming back from that. And the reason why I say there's no-go line, because if you do something that crosses my no-go line, I can no longer trust you. Mm-hmm. Whether you apologize or not, I'm always going to remember this person did this to me when it was convenient for them. Oh, they apologized, and it could be sincere. But I know in the back of my mind, when times is rough, you're going to do what's best for you. You don't have anybody else's best interest at heart. I can't trust you.
Yeah.
And it's just no go. I forgive you, but I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess the moral of it is if you are listening, watching, and you have not hit 40, and maybe you're like 38, 39, you might have this switch that happens. For everyone, it's different. Some people, I think it happens after 40. I've heard from men it happens after 40. I've heard some men say that it happened before 40. When did it happen for you? At like 30?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I've always been like that.
You have.
Especially
You
just because of my job, too.
Yeah.
That has a lot of influence on my kind of outlook on the world.
I think for me, it happened again like around 39. But there does get to this point where you will stop caring what the world has to say. You will realize things like social media and all of that isn't real life and it's fake. You will stop caring about what people's opinions of you are. You will stop caring about, I will say for females, and I don't want this to sound, I'm just going to say it. You're going to stop caring about how you look. And what that means is not necessarily like, oh, I could just look any old kind of way. But I will say for me, someone who is perimenopausal, like, and hormones are constantly like this, right? There's going to be some days where, girl, you're going to wake up in the morning and that dress is going to fit totally different than what it fit the other day, right? Like, I finally have gotten to a point where I've embraced like every change of my body, whether it be positive or negative. I've just embraced it. I've stopped, trying to compare myself to stuff. I stopped trying to look snatched and put on waist trainers and all of those things that, social media and the Kardashians and everyone tells us that we have to do, right? Like, I stopped caring. Like, I stopped, I just stopped trying to I stopped caring about other people's perceptions of me. And I really only focused on what I wanted for me and in my life. And I've only given time and energy to those things that make me happy. And so my message is to any woman who's listening, regardless of your age, but to those of you, especially approaching 40, or those of you who are in your 40s, like, congratulations, girls. We did it. We did it. Just live your life, because life is short, as we know. And yeah, any last words for you?
Yeah. Last words to sum everything up. You can't please everybody.
And you shouldn't want to.
So stop trying.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. There's always going to be somebody who is unhappy, jealous, envious, angry. And if you try to please those people, there's nothing you can do to please those people, because they're always going to be whatever emotion or feeling that they are at that present moment. You just can't please everybody. So don't rack your mind, or don't be going to a depression, or don't just let how other people's outlook on you affect you, because there ain't nothing you can do to please them. They're just unhappy, miserable people.
Dang, tell us how you feel.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody, you can't please everybody. And the older you get, you realize that, like, trying to please everybody, that's not even healthy for you. Trying to please everybody, that's not even reasonable.
Well, that was a fun conversation, but we have a lot more of that. So make sure you tune in, or go back. If you just found us, go back and listen to all of our previous episodes, as we talk about a lot of real life stuff. Until next time, bye.
Bye.